can't remember his name, but he was with this group, and then he jumps over here, and then all of them from that onwards were not questioned. Works Progress Administration is the biggest job creator. This is the behemoth one. Looking to put, they're building parks, they're building schools, they're putting out-of-work musicians to work, they're putting out-of-work artists to do murals, they're sending out people to do oral history of slave narratives. At this point, you still have people who were slaves alive, and so recording these. Then you've got the FSA that goes out and sends, let's take pictures of rural poverty. So that was the famous migrant mother picture. Okay. Ultimately, what's going to pull the country out of the Great Depression? World War II and the mobilization. FDR was ahead of the American public as far as his interest in getting involved in Europe. So the American public throughout the 30s remains very isolationist. Was it like something like 95%, even in like 1939, wanted to stay out of the war for the American public. FDR is going to be ahead though, and so he's going to meet Winston Churchill for the first time in 1940. This is their Atlantic Charter, outlining kind of the vision that they have for the world. He's going to actively support the British in their efforts against fascist aggression with the Destroyers for Bases, with the Lend-Lease Act. So even though the United States is not involved in the war, here's some stuff to go beat the Nazis or try to help. In addition, we also have the first peacetime draft. So the Selective Service Act gets put into play in 1940. That had never happened before. Get the embargo against Japan for oil and freezing of Japanese assets, and that's going to directly really piss them off. And surprise attack shouldn't have been too much of a surprise at Pearl Harbor. What's the date for Pearl Harbor? December 7th, 1941. Is it on there? Oh, there you go. Okay. So that's a good one to know. Executive Order 8802. That's a good one to know. That is putting language in place to make sure that African Americans were going to have access to industry jobs. That they would not be turned away because of the color of their skin. So that's an important step towards the coming of the civil rights movement. Remember, keep the wars in your brain as catalysts for demand. So after World War II, you're going to see soldiers and citizens alike coming back saying, now is the time for change. The Double V campaign, I don't know that we ever talked about that in class, but it's a pretty cool one where you've got this campaign for victory, fighting evil out in the world, in Europe and in the Pacific, but also fighting segregation and intimidation at home. So the Double V campaign, the roots of the modern African American civil rights movement that's going to kick 1945 to 1965. War Production Board. The United States really is the arsenal of democracy. So the whole industrial focus of the country shifts. Places like the Detroit area, Willow Run, no more cars being produced, but Jeeps, but planes. Let's go, 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 go. Got to support the war. All hands on deck. Total sacrifice. Citizens asked to ration. Everything is going to the war effort. This time we've got the government very, very involved with Hollywood to sell the war. So in World War I, lots of propaganda